92.7 3 FM.
Hello, good evening. Welcome. This is Hot Edition. We're live on news at Desawe Kanda. Also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W93.5 in Wa and beyond. Also live all across the world on 3news.com. We are streaming on Facebook at 3FM 927 on Facebook and X. Join in the conversation with your thoughts, your views, comments, and opinions. Coming up this evening here on Hot Edition, former Chief Justice Sophia Akufo says the current lithium agreement Ghana has signed is no different from the previous Gadgisberg type of agreements about our natural resources. This evening, we explore what Ghana can do to derive maximum benefit from its latest mineral discovery, which is widely sought after in the world. Here on Hot Edition, still in the bulletin this evening, in the independent power producers warn Ghana's energy debt gap will further widen, describing recent electricity tariff reduction as politically motivated. Also, on the health, mortuary workers insist intended strike will come off despite Ghana Health Services directive to the teaching hospitals to release funds from internally generated funds to pay their allowances. We'll give you details of that shortly. And later here on Hot Edition, aggrieved Gold Coast Fund management customers begin 32-hour protest at the Finance Ministry. Business, sports, and entertainment coming up over the next 60 minutes. This is Hot Edition. I am Alfred Ocansey. Remember, Hot Edition is probably brought to you by Old Mutual. Old Mutual says they would help you do great things every day. We'll tell you more about Old Mutual as we go on here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Let's get into it. As former Chief Justice Sophia Akufo is proposing the incorporation of a Ghana lithium company to conduct business operations in the entire lithium value chain on behalf of Ghanaians. Speaking as a distinguished scholar of the Institute of Economic Affairs, IEA, Justice Sophia Akufo retired, says the current agreement between the government and Barari DV is not so different from the colonial type mining agreements that have contributed to the shortchanging of Ghanaian state in the exploitation of natural resources. She said this earlier today at a press conference. We'll give you details of that shortly here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, and then also do a quick recall of how this conversation has been over the period here on Hot Edition as we get into it. And when we go on, and we'll also be connecting with various persons who have been speaking on this matter here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. And if you recall, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Opujinapo, has maintained that this is the best deal Ghana can ever have. In fact, he says that this 25.6 million tons in reserves located somewhere away in the central region is one that at least that community is going to be getting 1% of the revenue expected from the mining of lithium. And then also Ghana has a carry forward interest of 13%. So on. So he says that based on that particular detail, this is the best deal Ghana can ever have with this lithium. Dr. Gideon Piesa is a natural resource expert. He's been looking into this particular deal quite closely. He's joining us on the telephone. Dr. Gideon Piesa, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us here on Hot Edition. First of all, do you agree with that assertion and the position by the Minister of Natural Resources that this is the best deal Ghana can ever have in this lithium agreement?
Yes, so you see, this is the best deal when you are comparing with the existing contract, especially the fiscal terms that we have in the gold for our gold sector, it is comparatively better, especially when you are looking at it, the fiscal and the non-fiscal terms. On the face of it, it's better. That is what I would say, unless you want me to go into the details.
See, yes, but then again, there's a detail. The devil, they say, is in the detail. They said no, because you're looking at the fiscals. Yes, you would say so, and that's what the minister has been talking about, making reference to the fiscals with respect to the amount of money expected to come through, plus what the community is going to get, and so on. But what are the equally worrying aspect of this agreement that we have?
You see, as I speak to you now, I haven't seen the agreement out. We've spoken to other people in civil society. They have not still seen the agreement. But you see, what usually should happen with some of these things is that when you have, you want to do mining or even gold exploitation, what you have to do is that you would have to do what we call an open and competitive bidding. And then your open and competitive bidding is based on the quality of data that you have. Number one, you must have data. You must have an idea about your geological basin, or you must have an idea of the deposit, what you have, the quality, and then all that. And then that is a function of money. For you to be able to do all those geophysical and the geological studies, you need the money to be able to do that. So when you know what you have, then now you can now go and then announce that we have X amount underground. So we are looking at companies that have the physical muscle, the financial muscle, the environmental track record to be able to exploit. Then through open and competitive bidding, they are now going to come up with what they think they can offer the state. And then a committee would have to meet and then decide based on the physical capabilities, the technical capabilities, the environmental track record, and the fiscal and non-fiscal terms, which company is best. Now, what we are seeing here is that this company, Atlantic Lithium through Barari, what they were the ones who came and then initially did a reconnaissance to find out what we have as a country. Now, when they were making some successes, they applied for a prospecting license. They made some successes, and then now they have a mining lease. And then because they did all that, they have the data. Now, Ghana has not done that geological and geophysical studies. What we have is what the old data that the Ghana Geological Authority has, which is not enough for you to know what you have underground, for you to go out there and then announce, and then for companies to come in and then bid. So now the country should have raised money by itself to be able to do that. Mm-hmm. Now, someone comes and says that, okay, you don't have the money, but I'm willing to do that for you. And then this company has been consistent and then has done that over the years and then has been successful. And then now it is like, okay, if you have been successful, you have done this over the years, then why don't we now, if you want to go ahead and then mine, then once you have the data, you are familiar with the president, you tell us what you have. Now they enter into discussions, and then these are the physical terms and then the non-physical terms that we see. So that is how we arrived at here. We got here. One of the things that we shouldn't also forget is that when you are doing something new, especially in the area of lithium, this is going to be the first time that you have. You are usually not going to. You don't behave as if you are an experienced player in the sector,
and that's granted. In fact,
the lithium sector would have to be direct. So usually, you should expect better deals after the first deal that you have.
So you want to see this more? You're justifying this as in the agreement in its current form as more of a sacrifice, a necessary sacrifice that Ghana has to make because this is the first agreement. But then the former Chief Justice Sophia Akofo is making a proposition, and that's what I want to seek your thoughts on. She says that there has to be the consideration for an incorporation of a Ghana lithium company to conduct business operations in the entire lithium value chain on behalf of Ghanaians, so that this whole explanation of we don't have the adequate seismic data to have conducted this, and we don't have the capacity to have done the exploration to gather enough data, and then another company has come to do it. And so if the company has expended so much money on doing prospecting to have discovered that we have so much deposits of lithium, then the company must benefit thereof. That was the same argument that we had when we discovered oil, when we discovered gold, because we said the country doesn't have the capacity to conduct its own seismic data analysis and so on. So in this instance with the lithium, that narrative has to change. That's what Sophia Akufo is saying. And I want to take a listen to her, and I'll seek your thoughts on this.
The current international best practice, a local refinery must be established even before extraction commences, so that there will be no excuse that we haven't finished building the refinery. Therefore, we are, as usual, exporting raw product for somebody to tell us what's the value of the finished product is. And then we go and buy batteries from outside. Based on the projection by Barari based on the projection by Barari TV of an annual production
project percent to 9.06%. Government of Ghana has 13. So in the event they are able to do that, then it becomes 13% plus 9.06%. So Ghana's interest is already there through MIF and then the GOG. So I am not sure the point here. If you are talking about
so are you saying that,
yeah.
this is a fundamental question here, that this agreement in its current form best serves the interests of the people of this country? Is that your point?
In my view, yes. For starters, it is okay.
But and you are making that comparison and concluding that for starters, so it's okay because of what has existed over time. Couldn't we have gotten much better than what we have now?
You see, for us to get better, it is a function of we directing our mining sector, our lithium sector. You have to direct that. Nobody has ever done this. The country, this company does not even know the risk that is ahead of it. So if you don't take it and then you want to be very stronger than us, you may not even get anyone to come and take up what you even have. So comparatively to what we have signed in the past, in the gold sector, it is comparatively better. Mineral royalty, 3 to 5%, so we are getting 10%. The state had 10% vested interest in the gold sector. This we have 13%. There is a local content in there. You are partnering with UMAS. UMAS is doing some feasibility analysis for Felspar in there.
Well, Dr. Piazza, hold on a bit for me. I wanted to take a lesson as well to your colleague in this civil society space. I'm talking about Dr. Yusuf Sulemana, CEO of Eureka Energy Solutions. He's also a natural resource analyst. Make the point that Ghana should look at securing closer to 50% stake in this 15-year lithium lease to Atlantic Lithium, not this one that you have just talked about. Can we take a listen to him?
If you look accumulatively, Ghana is getting closer to 29 to 30%. But out of this 30%, a whopping 10% is royalties. The reason why we are so much bumped into the royalty regime is because we are not able to buy a lot of stake within the fields. We don't have that capital to push into equal partnership to be able to get major shares. And we have ourselves to blame for that because having extracted gold for all these years, but at this moment in time, we should have We should have enough money so that when a new field like lithium is coming to play, we should have been targeting like 40%, 50%.
Is that a feasible expectation?
You see, I understand this one. Now, the Minerals Income Investment Fund is a portion of mineral royalties from the gold sector that has been saved to build up that fund. Now, this is something new that the country has to do. So with this fund, so Ocansey, are we saying that we should, if for us to increase our stake, then it means that you are now increasing how much you would have to invest in production? What risk lies ahead of us, we do not know. As a country, we now have to build capacity. So we need to take measured steps. And then the commitment that we have made now is a measured step, and then it is okay. As we are able to build capacity, we can now increase our take in subsequent agreements.
Dr. Gideon Pesa, appreciate your time. Thank you very much for joining us here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Gideon Pesa is a natural resource expert there, joining us with his thoughts on this matter. But if you recall, this has been going on for quite a while now. After over 5 years of prospecting and exploration, Ghana in September 2023 granted a 15-year mining lease for the extraction of lithium in the central region. A deposit of an estimated 25.6 million tons in reserves is located at Oya in the central region. Over the lifespan of the mine, a conservative value of close to $5 billion is placed on the available resource to be extracted. If you recall, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abuja-Dampor, has said that the deal will be different from previous mineral deals Ghana has entered into. And this was a point that he made at the time, which has been challenged afterwards by a number of persons, including the former Chief Justice today.
Avoidance of doubt. This is the first lease granted for the mining of lithium in our country. This is going to be the first lithium project in Ghana. The lease we are signing today, I should emphasize, differs from our standard mining lease. This is because of the policy approved by Cabinet, which is to say that green minerals are to be treated differently.
This is Hot Edition. Let's move away briefly from this, because the Ghana Health Service has also directed that all teaching hospitals across the country should release funds from its internally generated funds to pay allowances of mortuary workers this week. Now, the service took the decision after meeting with the leadership of the aggrieved mortuary workers earlier today. The public relations officer of the Ministry of Health, Isaac Ofer, said government showed enough documentary evidence for the payment to be made.
But I can also assure you that, like we said, negotiations had started yesterday. It's going on today. We have them in a meeting with the chief director. Most of the issues they had raised regarding their payment of allowances and all that have been taken care of. You have Director General issuing a letter to all the hospitals that have mortuaries to make sure that out of their IGF, which is mandated by law, they should take care of all those things. Those who are supposed to be paid from controller, yesterday the chief director himself made a lot of moves, which we are very sure that those things will go back to them. So they know. We've given them evidence and letters to indicate that this is what we have done. It's not like we did it yesterday. These are not things that we did yesterday. These are things that we have ever done, we've done before, but that we were waiting for response. All we did was to revitalize it, to regenerate it, to re-echo it, to follow it up. And that is what is happening now. So we are sure, they know that we are working hard for them.
But they are beginning their strike tomorrow. They said they didn't say anything concrete in your meeting today.
Okay, from the meeting, they gave us assurance that they want to go and meet their leadership, so that the only issue left has to do with the recruitment. And with the recruitment, you and I know before you recruit, you must get clearance, financial clearance from the Ministry of Finance. Until that is done, one cannot compare the ministry to say that we are going to recruit workers to go and work. When you recruit and you don't pay them, it's also another issue.
As the head of public affairs at the health ministry, they're talking to Chief Labour Correspondent Daniel Opoko. But here on Hot Edition, we're monitoring how things play out ahead of that announcement of a nationwide strike by mortuary workers tomorrow. We'll see how things play out. But aggrieved customers of the defined Gold Coast Fund Management have begun their 32-hour picketing at the Ministry of Finance, demanding their locked-up funds. The group, numbering about 100, is seeking to put pressure on government to address their concerns, and they've been seeking the disbursement of some 8.6 billion Ghana cedis, as some approved by Parliament for the settlement of their claims. I've been joined in studio by Charles Nyame, who is the convener for the aggrieved customers of the defined Gold Coast Fund Management. Eventually became Black Shield, correct?
Yes, please.
I see. Now, you've been at the Finance Ministry since morning.
Yes, please.
Have you gotten the attention of the finance minister as yet?
Yes. At the early stage of our protest, we were engaged by an entourage headed by the Minister of State for Finance Ministry, Honorable Amin Mohamed Adam. But the meeting was not fruitful. After over 2 hours meeting was not fruitful.
If you say it wasn't fruitful, what did you discuss?
Because earlier we have had meeting with the finance ministry led by the same minister. That was on the 12th of October, when we had picketing a day before that meeting. And we demanded the meeting, we demanded for our payment, because we believe that monies have been approved as far back 2021 for our payment. And document available shows that the finance ministry is claiming those monies have been expended. Meanwhile, it was not disbursed to we, the customers, for which the money was purposely approved by the Parliament. This issue came at the back of the financial cleanup exercise. After the financial cleanup exercise, 47 companies of fund management and the Security Selection Commission was affected. Gold Coast Fund Management was one of them. And when you put all the customers of these 47 companies together, Gold Coast customers forms 90% of the entire customers. And we have investment portfolio of 5.3 billion. And in the 2020 mid-year budget, they approved an amount of 3.1 billion, which the government used it for a partial bailout from November 2020, going into the elections, to pay a capped amount of 50,000 to each investment.
So did any of your members receive some of the 50,000?
Yes, please.
You received 50,000?
Yes, some of them, not all of them, received part of the 50,000.
Right.
And in the 2021 budget, the remaining amount of 5.5 billion was approved to complete our payment in full. But after that approval was made, we haven't seen any disbursement. But documents available in the public and even at the Parliament House suggest that the Finance Ministry claims they have used 25 billion in cleaning up the financial sector. When you look at the component of these 25 billion, you realize that the total amount of the 8.6 billion that's supposed to pay these 47 fund management companies' customers in full is part of the 25 billion that they claim they have spent. And that is where our bone of contention is. Meanwhile, we have over 800 of our customers who are dead and gone. We have the records.
800 of the customers?
Yes, and most of them are the pensioners.
They are dead?
They are dead. We have the information, the data of them.
I see.
They are dead and gone. And we have tried to ask questions. Where did the money go? Where did they spend the money? We are not getting any answers. That's the reason why we slated 48-hour picketing in the month of October. So during that picketing, we were approached by Honorable Amin that the government has asked him to come and engage us to receive our grievances. So we had a meeting with them. In the meeting, he gave us 2 weeks. We demanded for our payment, and he gave us 2 weeks that he's going to fall back to government and bring us feedback. The 2 weeks elapsed thus on the 26th of October. We didn't hear anything. So we fell back to the police. We made an arrangement with police to go back today. And today, when they met with us, what he's telling us is that they cannot pay Gold Coast Fund Management customers. That's what he said.
They can't pay you?
They can't pay us. Unless we go after Dr. Papakwesi Indu, the owner of Gold Coast Fund Management, and the shareholders.
Why do they want you to go after them?
We have to go after them for them to vacate the court.
Oh.
There's a court process that is going on.
Right.
The government took the company to court. They are asking for a liquidation order to liquidate the assets of Gold Coast Fund Management.
True.
And Gold Coast Fund Management is challenging
That
the order
liquidation order
at the court. And what they are saying is that they want to support us to go after Gold Coast Fund Management so that they vacate the court.
So let me understand it. So they want Pakwesi Ndum and the management or the shareholders of Gold Coast, previously Black Shield, to go and withdraw the case from court.
No, Gold Coast has not taken. The liquidation order was filed by the Register General Department on behalf of the government. They want them to stop challenging and call for the liquidation order to be given to the government.
The Pakwesi Ndum is challenging that liquidation order, isn't it?
Yes.
Good. So they want you to rather put pressure on Dr. Pakwesi Ndum to stop the challenge of the liquidation order, so before they pay you.
Yes. This was open statement that he made over and over.
Who said that?
Muhammad Amin, the minister. He said it over and over and over. So in a 2-hour meeting, that was their proposal, that if we really want to be paid, we should go after the owners of Black Shield to go out of the court, stop challenging the liquidation order so that the government could be granted the liquidation order before they pay us. And we said, this is neither here nor there, because these are legal processes that are ongoing in the court. How can we put pressure on them? After all the offices of these companies have been locked up for the past 5 years and is under the custody of Securities and Exchange Commission. So where are we going to locate them to put pressure on them? Do we have to carry guns and machetes to their various homes and chase them out of their house or whatever? So we made them understood that there's no way we can do that. And he said that then he's going to close the meeting. There's nothing he can do about it. Without the liquidation order, they can't pay us our money. But come to think of it, payment of our money and the liquidation order has no link, because these are taxpayers' money. In fact, according to the Securities and Exchange Commission, a press release they issued outdated on the 2nd of September 2020, they made us understood that the government had 2 options to choose from to pay us, and one was to use the liquidation approach and the other was to use bailout approach. But they advised the government not to use the liquidation approach because the route can take 2 decades per the experience they have on their table, and for that matter the government should use the bailout approach. And you budgeted for this bailout, Parliament approved, according to the Finance Ministry, you've raised the money and you claim you have spent it. And another breath, you are telling us that we should get Ndum out of court before you pay us. We are calling on civil society organizations, the Cali Bishops Conference. We are calling on the Council of State. They should intervene, because this is clearly inhumane for people to work 30 years, 40 years, invest in their countries while others are investing offshore. We believe in Made in Ghana, and we invested in Made in Ghana company. And at the end of the day, if this is how we are treated by our own government, then it is very bad. And we need voices, loud voices, to rise to the occasion and speak for us, because this money have been sitting with the Finance Ministry for the past 5 years. And what is it doing there? Who is keeping that money? Is it in the treasury bill? Who is enjoying the proceeds? Come to think of it, the government is not paying us any interest on the locked up funds. It has been 5 years now. Let's consider time value for money. Now, 2,000 that time is not 2,000 today. It may be even 600 cities today.
Indeed.
And we are losing it entirely. So that is where we are now.
And how long do you intend to stay at the Finance Ministry premises?
According to the arrangement that we have with the police, we have 32 clear hours, which is going to end 7 p.m. tomorrow. That is 7 p.m. tomorrow. And until the Finance Ministry change its position, we are going to be there and protest till that time.
You're going to be there?
We are going to be there throughout the night.
Charles Nyame, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Charles Nyame is a convener for the aggrieved customers of the defunct Gold Coast Fund Management Company, and they are at the premises of the Finance Ministry picketing, demanding their locked up funds be paid to them. So live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond, also live on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. Let's go to Parliament because we're picking information that the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Suman Akinsford Bagbin, has directed the Trade Minister, Kobna Hammond, to present an amended import restrictions legislative instrument seeking to restrict the importation of tribe and some 21 other goods to the Committee on Subsidiary Legislation for study before laying. The Speaker made the directive in Parliament today, November 28, after an attempt by the Minister to lay the controversial bill hit a snag once more. The bill will be laid on Thursday, November 30. Listen to the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, when he gave the directive on the floor of Parliament earlier today.
It available to me doesn't include cement. Cement is not there. So it meant that this instrument is not the initial one that came before the committee. What I can say is that, Minister, kindly make available copies of this new draft to the committee. As rightly stated by the chairman of the committee, all the points that the chairman stated are correct. I was a chairman of that committee before, and I know how the difficulty of implementing the Article 11(7) and the laws thereafter are posing serious challenges in implementation in the House. So we just do this to try and iron it out, because when the instrument is laid, you need to test majority to annul it. And the partisan nature of the House is such that you scarcely get to test majority to annul such instruments. And what many of you don't know, that some of these instruments have led to holders of public offices being prosecuted and imprisoned. As a leader, I had the opportunity of advising ministers and public servants on some of these instruments, and they did not listen to me. They were laid and passed, and at the end of the day, those instruments caught up on them. And because it was the implementation of the instruments where offenses were committed and they were prosecuted and convicted. So what we're doing is not just politics, it's real life situation.
As the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin there. But the Minister of Trade and Industry, Kobna Hammond, is saying that he has been betrayed by the minority in Parliament over the laying of the legislative instrument to restrict the import of some strategic products. Now, Katie Hammond noted that a consensus was actually reached with the minority side for the laying of the LI, which seeks to restrict the import of these items into the country. Samson Asaki Awingobet is Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana. He's joining us on the telephone. So Awingobet, thank you so much for joining us here on Hot Edition. Hearing that the Speaker has directed the Minister to now go back, redefine or review some of the terms in this LI, get it to the Subsidiary Legislative Committee of Parliament even before it is laid on Thursday, and he, Katie Hammond, saying that the minority had betrayed him because there was actually a consensus reached with them on this LI. What's your take on these developments?
Well, I think there will be more things to reveal as the days goes by. What I can say is that even though the Speaker of Parliament is giving the window for the Minister to be able to file the LI, the Speaker, I wouldn't want to say the Speaker has supported the policy in principle, but the Speaker has managed to also counsel the Minister to take into consideration the things that we are raising. What are we raising? We are raising that if care is not taken, at the end of the day, if this LI comes to force and is being implemented, you might see people being corrupt. It will lead to corruption because you put in your application, one will have to go and see committees. So the higher bidder will even get the committee to approve your quota for you. Then when they get to the minister too, the same committee member will meet you in town and say, Mr. Asake, yes, we have done our part, but you have to go and see the minister because the file is before the minister. The other aspect that we are raising is also saying that in the LI, we did not see anywhere that they indicated that after the committee is done its work and the minister is absent, the sector minister is absent, could be indisposed, could be on international assignment, who will approve, who can sign for the importer. Or the importer will have to wait if it will take the minister 6 months, 1 year, 2 months to return. Then before that can be done. The other aspect we are raising is that, and we are hoping, we are told that the Speaker has asked the minister to go and meet the sub-sector committee, the legislature committee in Parliament tomorrow before even Thursday comes. Is that we are raising issue that why would the minister is asking that the companies to present a written profile of your company, names of your directors, shareholders and shareholder structures, show them where you are getting your funds from. I mean, these are things that we strongly believe that it has legal implications. Is the minister now having the power to lift a company bill, be able to know who are those behind the company? And we are saying this because at the end of the day, this country is so poor, and not because Honorable K.T. Hammond is laying the bill today, the LI today, but tomorrow another minister may come. Asake may come from PNC, someone might come from CPP or NDC or GCPP or even an independent president, maybe a Fafanto minister. Then that person say, okay, because this person and this person is the director of your company, these people don't like it, these people didn't support us, we will not, I won't approve the deal. That will become a chaotic into the country, and that could lead up to conflict of interest and so many things. We are also proposing that the committee, as it's set now, to always look, the committee does not have any independent powers. We are recommending that if the committee should work, the committee should be an independent committee, and the committee should be there minus both the processors, the producers, and the importers. What am I saying? If you look at the current committee that is captured in the LI, we see AGI in it, we see Chamber of Commerce in it, we do not see Importer and Exporter Association, we do not see Ghana Union of Trade, we do not see Food and Beverages. If tomorrow our business community put in application and the member of AGI is there, there's likelihood of influencing his own the committee not to give certain quotas to certain people because they also have an interest. We are proposing that the committee should be appointed from military, police service, immigration service, customs service. They will have a rep from Ghana Statistical Service because we believe that the statistical service will be able to give statistics of what community is available, what community is not available, and what quota can be given. So that, and of course, and when the committee starts and approve, no ministers to come in there to say, I would be the final arbiter, approve or not disapprove.
Okay.
That will not. So we will storm Parliament tomorrow to also meet the legislature committee and to also put our request for them before even the Thursday comes.
Okay.
Because we believe that it's not a bill where they will seek for interest parties to also bring a write-up to say LI, and the LI so far it's been late, 21 days it becomes automatic a law. And we don't want to fall into that victim. Then of course, the minister should also be able to tell us what other steps they put in place so that if the quota is not given, Kenya will not go so far because they will have money and they cannot get whatever to buy.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Awingobet, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Samson Asaki Awingobet is Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana there. Now, the government, through the Ministry of Finance, has released, from what we are getting, some over 150 million cedis to pay the allowances of trainee teachers. Now, 31 million cedis out of the amount is to be paid to the trainee nurses this week. Now, the Public Relations Officer of the Ministry of Health, Isaac Ofeba, disclosed this to our labor correspondent there in Lopoko that government, through the Ministry of Finance, has released some of 150 million cedis to pay the allowances of these trainee nurses. And that's the information that we're having. Take a listen to it.
So far, we can say that last week was 62 million. This week is 30 million. And we expect another 62 million by next week. So you can look at the quantum of money. And you know one interesting thing, the number of nurses admissions had increased. significantly to close to 150%. So you have where you have to admit 30,000 students every year. And that should tell you that in the next 3 years, you have 30,000 students coming out. Are you getting it? Last year was 30,000. This year was 30,000. And we know that from next year, it's even going to increase because there have been a reflection of the adequacy of students who are ready to study. And you can't say that they are Ghanaians, they can't get them to the classroom or to the lectures halls to go and sit down and study. So you need to admit them. Admitting them comes with a number of responsibilities. One of it could be the budget allocation for these allowances and all that. So we admit that we are owing, the ministry admit we are owing them, but then we've taken steps into ensuring that those arrears are being cleared. And I think that they should appreciate government effort into saying that we will give you allowance as you study. And we are giving it to you. Those that have completed that are in the house now, we owe them arrears. But they can attest to the fact that even they have completed school, government know very well that I owe you. And he paid them last week. They are not in the classroom. They've completed. They are home. But because government knew very well that I owe this person, even though he had completed school, I should still pay. Government had paid. So we should, we are pleading with them. They should make sure that we acknowledge the effort that government is doing.
Oh, so that's the head of public affairs at the Ministry of Health there. And now the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration has indicated the need to raise passport application fees in the coming days due to a shortage of raw materials and equipment, aiming to meet the high demand at the passport office. The Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Kweku Amprechum Sapong, mentioned the necessity, citing production cost and the current affordability compared to other countries in West Africa's sub-region. He indicated that there are ongoing discussions with Parliament to finalize the approved fees. Amprechum Sapong lamented that Ghanaians were currently paying $8 equivalent compared to other neighboring countries who paid about $40 for the same service of getting a passport. He added that there are plans to introduce chip-embedded passports in the second quarter of 2024 to enhance security in line with the ICAO standards. So that's the information coming from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, one that you should also be on the lookout and take notice of. Now, some 43 minutes after 5, 17 minutes to the top of the hour, 6 p.m. You're on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. Now, a rescue mission made up of residents saved a mother and her 3 children trapped in their homes following the spillage of the Dawenya irrigation dam. Hundreds of residents of Dawenya near Pram in the Greater Accra region have been displaced following the flooding of their homes caused by the spillage of an irrigation dam in the area. Some affected residents who spoke to our colleague George Queney said the water is at the window level of their houses. Member of Parliament for the Ningo Pram constituency, Sam George, has blamed the impact of the Dawenya dam spillage on what he described as negligence by the management of the dam. We'll go for this quick break. When we're back, we're getting to business news here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, partly brought to you by Old Mutual. They say do great things every day.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to the business segment on Hot Edition with me, Michael Obodu. Coming up tonight, Bank of Ghana refutes claims it spent 25 billion cedis on cleanup of banking sector alone. I have the details coming up shortly. Please stay with us. Let's head straight into our stories now, as the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, has refuted claims that it spends 25 billion cedis on the cleanup of the banking sector. He said that the said amount was spent to clean up the entire financial sector, including savings and loans, microfinance companies, and specialized deposit-taking financial institutions. Answering questions at the 115th Monetary Policy Committee press conference in Accra on Monday, November 27, he indicated that the cost involved in sanitizing the specialized deposit-taking institutions alone, for instance, is higher than what was spent on the banks.
Questions on the financial sector, always makes ideas, statements like you spend so much money to clean up banks, but they don't compare apples with apples, because that 22 billion or 25 billion that is quoted was not the amount spent to clean up banks alone. It was the amount spent to clean up banks, savings and loans institutions, microfinance institutions, and institutions that were licensed by the SEC. So that's the total financial sector cleanup. People make those kinds of comparisons. They are not comparing apples with apples. And in particular, because the SDI cleaning up can be very expensive. With the banks, we are able to recover assets. The receiver is working on recovering assets from the bank. The microfinance institutions, the savings and loans institutions that were shut down, almost had no assets. You could not trace any assets. Most of them are just dissipated depositor funds, and you could not even find what those resources were used for.
You heard the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, speaking there. Now, the cedi is expected to stabilize against major foreign currencies in December 2023. This is due to the anticipated inflows from the cocoa syndicated loan. Having faced its toughest period in November, analysts are optimistic that completing the first review of the International Monetary Fund program by December could lead to a timely disbursement of the second tranche of $600 million under the fund's extended credit facility program. This disbursement is expected to bolster the local currency, providing support against volatility during Christmas through to the first quarter of 2024. Now, away from that, the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana is urging the Agricultural Minister to disclose the list of farmers who purportedly received agricultural inputs exceeding 1 million cedis under the Phase 2 of the Planting for Food and Jobs program. Despite the government's push for the aggregator system in PFJ2, discrepancies arise as the 2024 budget indicates the supply of agricultural inputs under the program. The association's executive director, Dr. Charles Nyaba, has denied the claim, insisting that no such inputs have been received.
There hasn't been any disbursement in 2023 budget for PFJ 2.0. You can mark my words, because I'm a farmer. My members are farmers. I've spoken to farmers. I've spoken to district directors of agriculture, and none has received any form of inputs or any form of funds for implementation of PFJ 2.0. So we are so surprised that it's reported in the budget that such inputs were distributed to the farmers. If you look at the seeds, about 9,700 metric tons, and it's a mixture of different seeds, and the value varies. So we are trying to sit together and quantify that. And then if you look at the liquid fertilizer and the pesticides, they didn't give details what type of liquid fertilizer, what type of pesticides. So it makes it very, very difficult for you to quantify. But I think no matter how, the amount will not be less than 1 million Ghana cedis.
So you heard there the voice of Dr. Charles Nyaba, who is the Executive Director of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, bringing an end to the business segment here on Hot Edition. My name is Michael Ubodu. Thank you for listening. As always, please stay safe. Up next is sports, and Billy is on standby.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on the 3FM Hot Edition. My name is Billy Shen. Let's start off from European football. The Champions League is back, and Manchester City coach Pep Guardiola is eager to secure first place in Group G as they host RB Leipzig tonight. The citizens need a win or a draw to secure qualification as first place team in the group, that is Group G.
Step is done for both sides. Congratulations, Leipzig, of course, to qualify for the next round in February, but of course it's important to finish first, for prestigious for everything, because we believe when we play the last 16, have the second leg at home is not decisive, but is a little bit advantage, and we have to take it.
Hi Pat, just back to Terry Venables.
It's important to finish first, according to Pep Guardiola, the Manchester City coach. Now, Newcastle manager Eddie Howe has said that he expects his players to give their all against PSG. Newcastle are currently bottom of Group F, with just 4 points to their name so far.
I think we're at our best. Every team is at their best when they have that different emotion running through them. So I expect that from the players tomorrow. We're going to need every ounce of motivation, energy to get a result here. This is a defining moment in our Champions League campaign. We're well aware of where we sit in the group and what can happen tomorrow. So we're going to give
a defining moment indeed in their Champions League campaign. That's Eddie Howe, the manager of Newcastle United. Now let's look at the fixtures in the Champions League for tonight. Lazio will take on Celtic. Shakhtar will take on Antwerp. Feyenoord will take on Atletico Madrid. PSG will take on Newcastle. AC Milan will take on Dortmund. Man City will take on Leipzig. Young Boys will take on Red Star Belgrade. And Barcelona will be taking on FC Porto as well in the Champions League. Now, let's move on to the Ghanaian football, because Asante Kotoko are currently leading Nations FC by 3-0 in the MTN FA Cup round of 64. Stephen Mukwala has a hat-trick of assists so far, so kudos to him on that. And before I do go, the GFA Executive Council member, Frederick Ichampong, has responded strongly to allegations made by former Ghana youth star Ransford Osei threatening legal action against Ransford. The retired striker claims that he gave Ichampong $20,000 to secure a spot in the Black Star squad for the 2010 FIFA World Cup, accusing Ichampong of misappropriating the funds. Now, Ichampong released a statement earlier today to refute these claims. That brings an end to the sports segment here on the 3FM Hot Edition. My name is Billy Shen, and up next is entertainment with Ajua Nuela.
I think we're at our best.
Well, good evening and welcome to the entertainment news segment here on Hot Edition. My name is Noella Donko. Now, the first runner-up and Greater Accra Region's representative of the just ended Ghana's Most Beautiful pageant, Nayeli, had her homecoming ceremony over the weekend. Now, the colourful event started with a procession from the Bukom Arena through to the Ghana Paramount Stew House amidst a rich display of culture. Now, her homecoming Durbar saw a perfect display of the Ghana tradition. Nayeli seized the moment to say thank you to her people for their love and support during the competition. Now to some more stories here. We have a few years ago now, the Beast of No Nation actor, known for his role as striker, was seen on the streets of Accra and his estate alarmed many. Now, contrary to expectations, Emmanuel Ni Adomkwe was spotted selling coconuts on the streets of Accra. Now, the current situation of striker may come as a shock to many, as it is in direct contrast with his colleague Abraham Atta. Now, in a video spotted online, the popular Ghanaian actor and skit maker Dr. Laiki has expressed interest in working with striker for a better future. He also believes that everyone deserves a second chance and promises to work with his team to lend a helping hand. Okay, so still on our stories here, looks like the era of, song stealing accusations have returned, as Ghanaian hip hop artist Kwame Yogot has accused his colleague Amrado for stealing his song. Now, in a recent interview, the Kumasi-based radio station, the rapper expressed his plight to Ghanaians. According to Kwame Yogot, Amrado's latest hit single, Kwekwananse, is a clear duplication of his song Shege, which he released earlier in the year. Now, he added that the choice of lyrics for Kwekwananse were influenced by the concept of his song. We actually did a listen very today, and then we noticed that there are some picks here and there, but hopefully they will solve this amicably. We're still unsure whether he wants to take legal action or he just wants to be acknowledged. We're still here on the entertainment news segment on Hot Edition. Reggae dancehall artist Ross Kuku has called on the government to fix current economic hardships in the country with the song System Freeze. Now, System Freeze, a song of his Allow EP, Ross Kuku laments high unemployment rates, bad roads, and high cost of living, urging government to fix the system. We'll definitely bring you more details of this on TV, on News 360. So make sure you stay tuned and we'll give you all the visuals. Well, that's it for the entertainment news segment here on Hot Edition. My name remains Noella Donko. Do enjoy the rest of your evening. So there you have it. That's the full bulletin for Hot Edition today. Thank you so much for joining us, for spending your 1 hour with us here on the show. Tomorrow we come your way, same time, 5 p.m. with so many stories. So make sure you tune in and stay with us. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Accra gets busy on this frequency.